Okay, so after I sent that letter, there was a response saying, "Hi Carrie, we'll be entering your unit on June 22nd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to hopefully tackle as many of the minor repairs we've discussed as possible. I wish I could narrow down the time frame, but this is likely to be a full-day job. Thanks, Mark Koenig, Chief Executive Officer, Koenig Holdings, Inc." And they're in Guelph, Ontario. So, we had responded again. This was on for notice of entry regarding full day of general repairs. So, Ms. Nadon and Koenig Holdings, Inc. and Commissions Worldwide, Inc. Notice the personal contact number. Oh, actually, I got to leave that out. So, we gave them notice that our personal contact number was changing. For privacy reasons, we're going to leave that out. With regard to notice of entry, June 22nd, 2020. Please forward an outline of the work to be performed in the areas on the property you intend to work on or correct, as we have to make the necessary preparation of the various proposed work areas to properly protect our personal property furniture and to remove possible barriers or obstacles to accommodate and facilitate a more productive contact for you to properly assess, repair, and return to proper state of lawfulness and correcting any deficiencies at this property. We look forward to the work finally being done to begin to bring this property into proper compliance with the law. You will also return the premises to the condition of cleanliness it was before the work began, so make sure that all workers are properly advised as instructed in our previous request for accommodation for disability, and to prevent further harassment and intimidation as has been continually and repeatedly demonstrated to date, including Mark's display on June 9th, 2020. This includes all COVID-19 restrictions. If the unit is not returned in the proper state, you will be liable for any cleanup costs. Any issues or concerns are to be dealt with in writing to avoid confrontation of the property. Your cooperation is expected and will be appreciated. In general, regarding the ongoing situation, through your contact email with regard to the inspection that was requested for June 9th, 2020, we understood that Mark had requested to inspect the unit based on the guidelines clearly expressed in the applicable bylaws, yet he clearly was there to rehash the same old, same old. The law is clear as to what constitutes minimum standard of occupancy as defined by the Ontario Building Code and the owner property management's duty to maintain, and your assertion of the requirement for a tenant to, quote, provide a list before repairs can be identified and completed is clearly meant to preserve the minimum standard after it had been achieved and not as a work in progress option for your clients to clearly exploit the law for personal gain. Acts which we believe is municipal act fraud based on the rental license applications filed by Commissions Worldwide, Inc. to date, including for 2020. In an effort to clarify the position as tenant, preserving the rights of co-tenant roommate Denise Duval and son Austin Mills, we have attached a copy of the City of Waterloo Residential Rental License Bylaw 2011-047. The City of Waterloo Property Standards Bylaw 2011-122, of which your client, Commissions Worldwide, Inc. is very familiar with, as many of the very same infractions he was already cited for under a previous work order issued by the City of Waterloo for the property 100A Marshall Street, Waterloo, which has still not been completed at a fine of $500 per day or part day. Your client remains in defiance of I attached the order. Are also repeated and exist here at 98B Marshall Street, Waterloo, Ontario, which we feel provides a pattern of behavior and total lack of integrity and respect for the law, a copy of which was sworn at this property. Respect for the law. Pattern of behavior, total lack of integrity and respect for the law. A copy of the City of Waterloo Fence Bylaw 2013-017, a copy of the Ontario Municipal Act 2001, and the Ontario Building Code Regulation 350.06, all of which was sworn as this property being, quote, in compliance with when they signed the legal declaration to obtain an invalid residential rental license while clearly acting unlawfully as described in the City of Waterloo Residential Rental License Bylaw and is a crime under the Municipal Act. For any other clarification as to your client's legal responsibilities, it can also be achieved by consulting the Residential Tenancies Act. You may want to review the part about perjury under oath and false pretense. So you understand the reason why I added all those, and we gave them an actual copy of those documents, because that is what they attest to when they swear the declaration, that it meets all those standards and codes, and the minimum building code is not to be precluded by any other law. In reviewing all the laws that are talked about here, it states that in every aspect, from the Municipal Act right on through to the building code, every part of the property standards bylaw is not to be superseded by the minimum requirement of the building code. And again, the building code applies to all buildings, not just rentals. The reason why this in particular goes to rentals is because it's a rental bylaw specifically for residential rentals. And it was supposed to be a licensing process where by having a license hung up there, that they guaranteed that it was to code, that it is to minimum standard, that the maintenance is done before the tenant moves in. And this is clear when it comes to bed bugs too. They are not allowed to keep re-renting it to other people until the problem is solved. Yet they do all the time because it serves a purpose of keeping that room full of people paying for what they should never have to pay for in the first place. And it's a simple fix. Anyway. As we have said, the City of Waterloo, Region of Waterloo, and Province of Ontario have their own problem. This concerns your clients and apparently the other property management company listed in the fraudulent license known as Atlas Property Management, of which your client Mark Koenig of Koenig Holdings Inc. was the property management for these very same properties with apparent fraudulent rental license applications, as well as before assuming personal control over the management of these properties. We look forward to our part in clarifying and resolving these issues once and for all. Because Mark was the property manager for Atlas Property Management, he's aware of all this, of the requests for repairs that were ignored, of them ignoring, the legal department saying we don't even recognize. I have it in writing where they're saying we don't even recognize Marshall Street Tenant Association at all, whether Kerry's writing about it or not. So this history is well documented. As far as they got caught. Now what are we going to do about it? Anyway. At least now, Commissions Worldwide Inc. and Koenig Holdings Inc. and Small Matters Paralegal Services is aware of your legal responsibilities under the law, and so have no excuse not to follow the law, and it is Small Matters' responsibility to properly legally advise based on the law, even if the client inevitably pays for bad legal advice just the same, right, Ms. Nadon? As far as providing you a copy of the video proving our claim of continued unprofessionalism and harassment, a link to the video will be forthcoming. That'll be the one that's right here. That's the one they just got. Anyway, we have included a copy of the signed document which constitutes the legal formation of the Marshall Street Tenancy Association. Sorry, Tenants. It should be Tenants Association. And is still binding to this date, and clearly asked for a full review of the property at 98B Marshall Street in Waterloo. Again, we have proof that Commissions Worldwide Inc. was properly and legally informed with a copy of the same notice, so continue to ignore it at your own peril. You can request the time for a complete and proper inspection of the property based on the requirements under the law, as we are, as always, ready to accommodate and facilitate your compliance with the law in terms of the lease agreement contract. We still await your written response to the direct AOTA request for the information from Small Matters Paralegal Services, Commissions Worldwide Inc. and Koenig Holdings Inc. with regard to the written policy and proof of training with regard to dealing with persons with disabilities. Again, this is a requirement of law since 2004, I believe. Ms. Nadon, by your own admission and by the actions of all parties to date, you are clearly not in compliance as required. Apparently, rules of civil procedure and your conduct unbecoming of your profession's standard are also something you must consider to be a small matter as you continue to mock the law and allow your clients to do the same. These are all issues for the Solicitor General of Ontario, Human Rights Commission, and Law Society of Upper Canada, as well as your professional association. I will remind you that your conduct is only protected if you abide by the rules, so you may risk civil liability. We aim to fix all of that thanks to your help in providing the evidence. Please let us know how we may assist you in your compliance with the law. By the way, now that you know the law, demonstrated by hanging the rental license at 98B Marshall Street and 100A Marshall Street in Waterloo. You also advise them to also properly put up and display the rental licenses in every rental property in Waterloo that Koenig Holdings Commissions Worldwide Inc. owns or manages that is applicable under the law, right? Funny, but there doesn't appear to be a license displayed at 98A Marshall Street or 100B Marshall Street in the window. Change is good, you'll see. Govern yourselves accordingly. We look forward to your cooperation and await written response to the June 22nd, 2020 request at your earliest convenience, Mark. Thank you sincerely and without reservation, Chris Bacon, Director, Marshall Street Tenant Association, Spokesperson Representative for Kerry Mills, Tenant 98B, Marshall Street, Waterloo, Ontario, Norman 2 Jack 2 Terrence 4, member of Marshall Street Tenant Association. And that was in response to the one that Mark Koenig wrote on June 11th at 10:52 in the morning. Anyway, yeah. So then they showed up and they just did a couple repairs. We were asked to leave all day again. They didn't respond with anything really. They just said, have the rent ready to pick up. And they came in and they did the same crap again. So anyway, we're hoping to change these things. And we believe that the voluntary tenant rental audit property standards in Waterloo is going to help, because the way the law is written, we believe, because it says it is unlawful to put it out for rent or to collect rent or cause rent to be collected by any person. That includes the city, the region, everybody. I believe this is a legal means of making sure that if your property, because the way this bylaw is written, there's no guarantee, but the understanding is if it doesn't meet these standards, then it should not have a valid license. If it doesn't have a valid license, it is not a lawful rental. And maybe it's time, even if you don't do it in the sense of we may be able to recoup any rent that may be deemed owing because of arrears. Really, if it's not able to be rented, then there are no arrears, certainly. And we have just proven, we feel we have proven that the whole apparatus is there to protect the Crown and municipality from the fact that they are not doing their job. That they are circumventing the rules and they are making it up as they go along in favor of business? Is this the rule of law? Is this what they mean by open for business? They certainly knew who they targeted and they went after us. And it just so happens that Theo Papadopoulos, owner of Commissions Worldwide Inc., is a fully registered real estate agent. The second one in a row that put forward another real estate agent, fully licensed in Kitchener, put forward another illegal rental as a rental. And the same thing happened. The police were used as intimidation. The city ran interference, and that was City of Kitchener. And we were sitting there going, what's the problem here? It's because it's all the Region of Waterloo. Municipal enforcement. And because of our contacts over this few years, we have a pattern of behavior here which shows specifically exactly what we showed here. They're not fooling anybody. And this is out and out Municipal Act fraud at the very least. Dereliction of duty. And again, you have to ask yourself, they're not collecting permits for the changes. They're not even making sure that the paperwork that is filed is even accurate. They were notified of the sale immediately when the land transfer went through, and yet for 2 more years did absolutely nothing to follow up for rental licensing. Even though it was clearly rented as, even the insurance was changed to from a multiple unit property into a single family residence. All of these things which are registered and are part of the record that we found out when I went to get it. And we only got so far because the minute we started getting what we needed, they shut us down. Started asking for a whole bunch of fees when we are disabled. Under AOTA, we have the right, this is for the public good, public interest. The record has not responded at all to this false story that they printed, where they allowed the mayor / regional rep Jaworski to put forward this con that this whole thing has been to protect people like us all along. Well, here's the result. You be the judge. But I'm telling you right now, Mayor Jaworski, you need to resign. Steve Ross, the lawyer who has been behind this, representing the city of Waterloo, you need to go. And we need to make a full formal complaint to the Law Society of Upper Canada about the way this man decided to do business on behalf of the city. And we need a full investigation as to why all these players in the city seem to be covering up. None of them are abiding by the law because it's about the rule of law, right? Well, there's a municipal election coming up. And even Karen Redmond was trying to save the region money by saying cooler talk that, oh my God, black mold is nothing. You just don't eat food out there. Well, let me be clear, because you can trace the pattern of the black mold that started in the garage beside 98 or 100B, sorry. They replaced that wood. It had spread over to the patio deck at 100B and 100A. It is also spread over to the patio at the restaurant that just opened up on the corner of Weber and Lodge Street, which is also owned by the same owner. And in all of these building code, it says that all wood surfaces must be coated with a protective coating, and yet none of them are. And yet there they are, opening up for business on the patio. And take a good look at that black, because it's not rustic barn stuff. That is black mold. And I defy the city to prove otherwise, because regardless, the building code for commercial building as well is also not being adhered to, because it is clear that they are required to apply a protective coating and and manufacturers' recommendation is that you do it no less than every 2 years for the first several years, and then no less than 5 years after the first, I think it's 3 applications at 2 years a coat. So done to the standards of the profession, right. Take a look at what they did here. They used it. They used the whole apparatus to block our ability to have any say. They brought the weight of the law and the whole apparatus down on the people who were complaining. And they lied through their teeth to do it. And you can watch the videos themselves. Take a look at 100A when they're talking about this all started with a carbon monoxide detector being 6 feet off the ground at 100A. And you could literally go there and watch the video where the guy looks right in the camera and tells you, but that's absolutely fine. No problem. That's within the law. That's manufacturer's instructions and all the other stuff. That's perfect. Matter of fact, we just got a brand new one for you. We put it in the hallway here because we're being extra careful to make sure you're safe. Looks good on paper too, eh? Then all of a sudden, because we're distracted over here, because Tom died from this. John Lichty died. His nickname was Tom, but John Lichty died because of all this. Had a heart attack. And that's a whole other story when it comes to this region and how they operate blatantly. You know, we got distracted. We didn't realize that they just passed a fire inspection here too, supposedly, on paper. Go watch the video. See for yourself. It had just passed. Rubber stamp. But the most important thing is go look at the after part when they installed the stuff. Because you will see that the exact same model of the exact same carbon monoxide detector that was okay to be 6 feet off the floor at 100A Marshall Street next door is installed no more than 3 feet off the floor on every floor here above the basement. just like I had asked them, because that's what it says in the manufacturer's instructions. But be clear. Watch them as they, you trust firemen, right? You trust the fire department. You trust the police department. You trust municipal enforcement. They got our backs, right? It's also coincidence that Theo Papadopoulos also happens to work for, hold on, wait for it, Kupel Marcoux. Drive around Kitchener, anywhere in Region of Waterloo, and see how many Kupel Marcoux signs you see. When I went to call Kupel, because Theo Papadopoulos gave me his Kupel Marcoux card. He did not give me a Commissions Worldwide Inc. card. He handed me a Kupel Marcoux card. And because of that, I called Kupel Marcoux, and they said, oh, what property are you calling about? And I said, 100A Marshall Street. And they said, oh, that's Theo's file. I didn't ask for Theo Papadopoulos. I asked for, hey, I'm at 100A Marshall Street. And they said, that is Theo's file under Kupel Marcoux. To which I went on the phone with Chris Kupel, or is it Chris Kupel or Chris Marcoux? I'm not sure which. But Chris, the owner, I got it on tape, all recorded, all caught in real time. Like I said, this is business, right? So they have the right to allow him to hide for 2 years, not paying his proper licensing fees. The law works, he gets caught, and this is what happens. They're allowed to cause this much damage to disrupt. They disrupt everything. They disrupt the process. And believe me, we are preparing our complaint, joint complaint to the city and the region and the province. This has been a trying time. This has been unbelievable. And it's aged us all. But I'll be damned if I will let any of these assholes try and get away with anything that they do. And we are writing a letter to the administrator of the municipality and to the Solicitor General. You need to get a handle on this, people, because what the hell are you doing? What is your definition of integrity? I think we know, right? Municipal election is coming up. And you know what? You need to pay attention to what's going on, because in City Council, in both City of Waterloo and City of Kitchener and City of Cambridge and other places, there are councillors who sit on City Council as well as on Regional Council. And that's definitely true for City of Kitchener and City of Waterloo. I'm almost certain it would be for Cambridge too, but what do you call amalgamation? And Mayor Jaworski, Regional Councillor Jaworski, so who you were representing that day? You're supposed to be collecting taxes for the people of Waterloo, and yet you're sitting here saying we need to raise taxes because there's not enough being collected. Well, there's over $250,000 due next door. And I expect the treasurer of the municipality of Waterloo to immediately institute collective. You are to register it. I'm going to put it in writing. You need to register that work order immediately with the land registry office and take immediate action to collect that debt and to correct those inconsistencies. There are new violations there, and there's a child there that is in danger. Whether they realize it or not, that is a fact. And he has just been able to rent it out again, probably at more money, and he didn't even correct what is required from the work order, which is due July 15th of 2019. It's almost July 15th, 2020. Let's see if you can get something done by then. You think? I challenge you. Because you know what? This is class action. We have definitive proof that this whole system is just there to milk while not living up to their legal obligation. And I don't know about you, but I'm done. And I don't care anymore because they're going to kill me. I'm already dead. Nobody cares. That's okay. What's important is what we do while we're here. And I'm good with this, so. You need to join something.